Hey everybody, Patrick here, and I'm hopping on this morning before the episode drops to formally announce our live show happening August 29th, a Sunday in Los Angeles to celebrate the first anniversary, the first birthday, the Janchi, if you will, of the Janchi Show. As listeners will know, Nathan, KJ, and myself have never met before, and thanks to our producer, Jerry Wan, we now have the opportunity to do so, and we are really, really excited to be able to go out to LA, to get into the heart of K-Town, and to mix it up with each other for the first time. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. And even better, we wanted to open up this opportunity to you, the listeners who have supported us this entire year, who have made this trip and really the entire show possible. So on August 29th, we are going to be doing a live recording of the Janchi Show and then having a Korean barbecue dinner afterwards. I don't think I have to say anything else, but I will. This event is going to be an incredible, the first time that we've done a live show together in person, and the first time that we're going to be doing it for an audience. So really excited about this opportunity. Tickets for this event are going to be $80, and you can go sign up right now and register for this event at janchishow.com/live. You can fill out the registration form there, and then make sure that you join the after party on Facebook, because that's where you're going to get the most exclusive updates on what's going on with the show, including the specific details, the location, and now I am stumbling over my words like I have forgotten what I'm supposed to say. However, it is fine because that is the content that the Janchi Show people come to the show for. So, with no further ado, let's get on with the show.
That was flat. That was very flat.
That wasn't part of the song.
That's a new theme song. It's a new transition.
Alright, let's go.
Okay.
You're listening to the Janchi Show, hosted by 3 Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Welcome back to the Janchi Show. This is Nathan, one of your hosts, for another solo episode by myself. Oh, wait, no. Actually, sorry. KJ and Patrick are here, too. It's not that kind of solo.
It's not that kind
Your
of show.
other
Not that kind
favorite
of solo.
host.
The other hosts. The more important hosts.
The other
And
favorite
the actual favorite. Judging by one poll we ran one time.
Judging by one poll where Patrick just asked himself, hey, who is the best host on the Janchi Show, Patrick? And Patrick said, Patrick.
The one
And
poll
Patrick
where
gave Patrick a high
created a
five.
bunch of fake profiles on Facebook and voted for himself.
And then he got banned forever because Facebook thought he was a Russian bot. It was a
But
matter of national security.
But we are back for another episode. We're not doing episode numbers, but this is a solo. And
Look, they can look at their devices. They'll
that's
see
true.
what episode.
You'll see the number. But before we get into that, KJ, what does Janchi mean, and why are we called the Janchi Show?
We're called the Janchi Show because that's what we decided to call ourselves after going through a rigorous polling process between the 3 of us about which Korean word that we didn't know was going to resonate best with us. And we were like, I don't know, they're all basically gibberish to us. But upon translating it, we found that Janchi was the one that really helped us elevate our ethos as who we were. Because Janchi means to feast or to celebrate, and that's what we're here to do. So whether we're celebrating the first year of a child's life or we're celebrating our journeys as Korean adoptees, as Korean Americans, as people in the universe, we're just here to have a good time, have some laughs, tell some stories, learn about Korean culture, and try some Korean corn.
Hey, yo!
yeah, Korean corn. I don't know why I did that. I'm in party mode,
It's
I
in
guess.
there forever.
Okay.
He's just Patrick's getting crazy.
I know I'm editing these, so I did throw a bunch of stuff in.
Just so you have to like, do
You
I
hear me
keep this
talking
in or do
more.
I take it out? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta not abide by that. Anyways, you were saying, Nathan?
I was going to say, we are back for this episode with our Korean Culture Dictionary. We have been going through these for our solo shows, and we've been enjoying what we've learned because there is a lot of great information in this book. It is by Woo-sung Kang, and it's edited by Edward Leary, and it just has all kinds of really good information in it. So we've talked about kimchi, we've talked about family structure, bowing, we've talked about, go back and listen. We've
I don't even go back and
we
tell
have a
me because
deep
I don't
catalog.
remember.
So, Patrick, what are we talking about today?
So today we are talking about Jeong and Han. Did I say that right? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Jeong?
Jeong.
Jeong.
Jong. I don't know.
Jeong.
Jeong.
Yeah.
It's how I was pronouncing it in my head when I was
Jong.
reading it. Jong.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting, Jeong in particular, because I have looked into Han. I've read about Han and listened to some other things about it, and really resonate with that concept. But
Wow,
I
what a
liked how
Korean.
what?
I said, wow, what a Korean.
I know, right? Totally. That's how I knew. That was the first
Anji,
time.
you're like so Korean.
I am totally Han. I'm so totally Han right now.
Bro, stop
but-
bonmoling me.
So I thought the thing about Han that I think is really interesting is that it is so hard to define. If you ask or read any book that talks about it, it has probably a different definition or variation on some sort of definition of either deep feeling or some sort of revenge type thing potentially. My favorite definition has been a loss of identity. I really like that of Han. But reading about Jeong first, I thought that was very interesting because it talks about that being the most mysterious concept and hard to define word in Korean culture. And I was like, I never even heard of this. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. And so my understanding of it, reading through kind of the story of Maria, who was visiting, I got like
I saw that coming.
that it's like this sense of like courtesy
Power
and
strength.
politeness, but like extreme familiarity and stuff like that, and but like a familiarity in a selfless sense. I thought that's kind of what I took from it. I don't know. What do you guys think about Jeong? Did you know what that was before reading about it, and if
Nope.
so, what was it to you?
I was unclear of what it was, and I was happy that they put examples and not just tried to explain it. I mean, if you
Sure.
if they start with saying this is something that is hard to explain, and then they try to explain it, it's that doesn't really. It's
Well, I
probably
like
going to
that
be
they
hard to
used the
explain.
story. Of
So,
a
right,
person.
exactly.
That made
So-
it a lot better.
Use a storyline. Use what you can kind of put yourself in her feet and go, oh, okay, so this is what it would feel like. So I like that.
That classic saying, put yourself in their feet.
Put yourself in my shoes. That's what I meant.
Sorry. That's staying in. That's staying in for sure. Anyways, sorry.
Put yourself in their feet. Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
But I like those examples because it gave a little impression that it was kind of family, culturally, sensitivity, family feeling, even though you're not family. It's just very open generosity, welcomeness, but also used in times of some awkward situations, like the one where she was eating in front of somebody else, and even though she had asked the person if they were hungry, she didn't offer them a bite or anything,
yeah.
and they said, "Wow, you're totally not Jeong," kind of a thing. So
You absolutely have no Jeong.
you have no Jeong, yeah. So because she was a foreigner, and he was expecting maybe a little bite of whatever she had.
She was a skater boy. He said, "See you later, boy."
Actually, it was reversed because she said that to the food, and then he said, "See you later" to her because she had no Jeong.
Look, I'm not perfect, okay? I think so. Here's interesting because I don't know that Jeong is ever actually
Jeong.
defined.
I keep pronouncing it incorrectly. I think Jeong.
Well, it's because it's the name of the Choi. No, the Kim in Kim's Convenience. It's the older
Oh
brother,
yeah, Jeong.
So,
Jeong. Jeong.
I think what's interesting is I put it into Google Translate, and the first translation is tablet, And here's just a list of alternate translations because there's no hanja, right? So you're like, just the standalone word, it can mean anything. So there's tablet, chisel, quiet, set with 2 T's. What the heck is that? Boat, justice, feeling, essence, unit of distance, arbor, spirit, gong, net amount, and then as an adverb, it could mean really and fourth. So the definitions are all over the place.
I would say fourth is the most similar definition to what
You're
this
ridiculous.
was. Sorry.
It's not even a good joke.
I was being serious.
Why
How do you
fourth?
figure fourth is the most?
Oh,
No,
like
fourth
fourth?
isn't like fourth place.
Oh, I thought you meant
Yeah.
like fourth, like to go fourth.
And this
Like,
is why we
I was
have
like, that makes
hanja,
sense.
because in English, when you just say words, if you don't have the Chinese behind it, then you don't know.
If you don't spell the
which-
word out,
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
don't spell it
exactly.
out before, I don't know.
Man, English is so hard.
Yeah.
It is the
Thank
hardest
goodness for the
language.
Chinese
Yeah.
that helps us
Yep.
with the homonyms.
right, sorry.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just thought that was interesting because it's not really defined, except it's like I don't know. I guess So this sentence makes the most sense to me on 68. It says, Jeong has been the glue that kept the Korean people together through history, looking after each other and helping each other, even without explicit request.
Yes.
So I think it's like this really wonderful sense of like community obligation. I know that we've talked a number of times on our podcast now about filial piety, but I think there is a sense of like communal piety and a sense of the collective that I think is really beautiful about Jeong, and can definitely understand it being like heavy-handed, being like, why are you doing this, and like imposing yourself on a situation where I don't actually want you here. But I think it's a really nice concept.
Well, I mean, Korea is like traditionally or historically very nationalistic too. You know, like they have all those principles of being very pure blood and all of this. Not to like throw labels around, even though I just threw one, I guess. But
Yeah, not to dip into Harry Potter land, but
yeah,
you know how it be.
And we've talked
yeah,
though.
exactly.
We have talked a lot about how the Koreans are very family oriented and feel very warm and open and friendly, even to adoptees or other people where they at times when they find out that you're an adoptee, they want to help you and stuff like that. So at least the ones I've met, I guess here.
I was going to say, not to
too.
deny the
Not-
experiences of the
of
opposite
some.
happen.
Exactly, and there are those that as well. And again, I don't
Those
know.
Definitely happen.
It could definitely be both ways as far as the type of people that are either more modern or set in their older ways, traditional ways. So, but it talked about it being used in Korean dramas. I don't watch Korean dramas and stuff. Have you guys seen that or heard that word in it all?
Well, I feel like I've heard the word Jeong, but I feel like it's what KJ has been like when he was like, there's 100 million definitions of this. And I'm like, I think it's probably that. I've just seen it like offhandedly part of another word. And it probably did not mean what this book was trying to say it meant. Or this book is like talking about the traditional.
Oh, actually, there is a list of translations here. It's affection, intimacy, sharing, generosity, love, emotional bond.
Yeah.
So it is it's like the opposite of Han. In that, like Han is like sorrow, deep regret, pain, anger that comes out of sorrow. You know what I mean? So I like actually that Korean has these words, like I don't know, growing up, especially in like literature classes, you always hear about like, well, the German term for this is whatever, the French term for this is whatever, and they like there's not an English equivalent, so that we just say the German or the French word. And so I wish that, like, I mean, for us, I think as we have journeyed in our understanding our identities, I think that these are becoming more words for us. But like I like that sometimes it's just easier to just say Jeong or Han, to explain like this is just like the mood that we're in. Like our particular vibe is Jeong or Han.
Yeah.
And just to then make that a shorthand, for like, yeah, it's like it's a type of caring for each other or emotional bond. It's not like love in the romantic sense, but just like a love and respect and dignity for like, you're a human, I'm a human, therefore like I have because you exist in my community, I have kind of a responsibility to care for you and to make sure that you're okay, so I think that it can be really nice, and also could definitely stray to be like, why why are you doing this?
I like the communal part of it. And I like the communal part of all these terms. Like Jeong and Han are both like communal things. And while it talks about, these aren't just Korean, these things don't exemplify specifically Korean feelings or attitudes, but these are the Korean ways of like this is how this is in Korea. And like you just said, on our journeys, like in working to reclaim these things, like to be able to now classify like our bond or whatever else the case may be with Jeong, or like I'm feeling Han by Nathan right now. I don't know why. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just looked at his face and I was like, he's looking very stoic. He's giving me Han.
I was just
Giving you
reflecting
Han?
on the word. I was trying to come up with other
Stoicism
ideas.
is giving you deep sorrow or anger.
I
Well,
was
no, it's just making
being
me feel
contemplative.
deeply.
I was
It's
thinking
making me
about
feel
the
deeply.
Jeong. I was thinking like, I don't know, it's like a good neighbor. State Farm is there.
Farm is there.
Yeah,
Dang it. That is not Jeong.
but it's
Is
not.
it though?
It's not Jeong.
It's not
Okay.
that. That's what I was
All right.
thinking. I was like, it's a neighborly love in a way too. But
That is actually very true.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it doesn't have anything
I think
to do with
it's
insurance.
really nice.
but-
I think the maybe the more familiar thing is, Patrick, you talked in an earlier episode, and we've just kind of talked around like the way that Koreans use family terms to relate to non-family members. Like so in
Ooh,
Jen
yeah.
Frederick's book, where she describes like
Oppa.
being an adoptee and being oppa, but like
Oh.
you can't call anybody else oppa, and all that stuff, and you're like, I don't really understand, but I get that it's more than what you're letting on to. Like, it does technically mean big brother, but it has a lot of like subtler implications. I think in those subtler implications is where you see sometimes some of the Jeong, it's like
Right.
I think it is uniquely powerful to say like you're my brother and I will care for you like a brother, to somebody with whom you actually have no blood relationship with beyond maybe like you're in the same nation or
Sure.
whatever like that. Like it's just there's just not that sense of, I mean, communal identity obviously in America because we're super individualistic, but like there's not that sense of like devotion and like promise to care for each other, sometimes even in our own family structures. And so I think like it's really powerful to see that like that Korean as a language and as a society has words to describe both both communal affection and like promise to care for each other, and also communal like anger and grief and resentment. I think speaks a lot to like Korea over time, and like how much the society has evolved to say like these are intrinsically parts of our language and parts of who we are.
Very yin yang.
Yeah. Something that made me really sad thinking about this was thinking about like when I've experienced this feeling, and the only times that I can really think about it being super overpowering is like a sports event, like a sporting event. Like when the Cubs won the World Series, like that.
And you're
when I'm
like
thinking about it,
hugging
I'm
this
like,
rando?
that's Jeong right there. Like
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
Jeong right
That's
there.
a-
Like that's
yeah.
yeah. I was like, but then I was like, that's really sad that the times that I think about that concept is in relation to something that really has nothing to do with anything important, especially when it comes to like community and like thinking about it in that way. But I do know to think about it, I do know just by looking out in the world that there are these things happening where there is Jeong and these communities, and I want to be a part of that. So
Maybe we can classify this as like to a point an adoption Jeong, like the community and the feeling that we all share with each other and what we've gotten from other adoptees is in a way like
Yeah, I think that that's definitely accurate. That you like anytime I meet another adoptee, especially if they are like behind, quote unquote, or I guess newer to the journey of coming out of the fog, and if they are Asian adoptees, I'm like, let me be your oppa. Like I will be, or like maybe Sherpa is a different term, but like I will guide you as much as I can for as long as I have capacity to do so, because I know that this journey is hard. Like I'm just like, oh, you're a part of my community. I think that you find it in support groups, in religious communities, and like there are so many ways that like this can be expressed. Certainly in sporting events, like I have this with like the whole Liverpool Football Club fan base around. Like I'll sing all of the chants, stomping around the house, and Sarah like knows them now, but like she doesn't really know them, but like I sing them enough that she like kind of knows them. Like you know what I mean? But it's just like I know that there are people all around the world singing the same dumb songs to Virgil van Dijk or whatever, and you're just like, all right, great, here we go. So, but there is that Jeong. So yeah. Also, I would say Han is probably the best way to describe the feel of my song "Don't Let Me Go."
There you go.
It's like sad but it's like based out of anger, and it's like, yeah, it's a particular unique kind of moodiness. So, and I think that we, especially as adoptees, feel that and get that, but not to say that it is specific to adoptees or any people group. I think we all feel Han, whether or not we have the word for it.
Yeah, the book didn't even mention adoptees, and of course, in its definition of Han. And I was kind of curious if how many adoptees either know the word, talk about the word, or use it as part of their definition of what they're feeling.
So that's what I thought was really interesting, is that there's just a single page, not even really a full page dedicated to this concept that is so dominant. Like, I had not heard of Jeong, but I had heard of Han a lot. And I heard about it first in the adoptee community. Because I think what is so resonant with Han, and I've talked about this podcast episode, this lecture before on the show, but the Korea Society put one up about Han and the origin and the history from Professor Michael D. Shin. And he's the one that, when I listen to that, just like changed my whole viewpoint on like what it means to be Korean or connected to the culture and the people in that way. Because it's like he defined it as a loss of identity. And it's not just like, it's easy to feel like an individualized sense of a loss of identity, but what makes it so Korean or like really, really resonant in Korea is the fact that this is a country and people have gone through loss a lot through occupation and imperialism and war and even infighting, because this is a country that's divided. So they have that right now, even they're fighting for their identity. And I thought, and it's like, that's how all the people can feel that. And especially for adoptees, we're like, it's like, that's the compound of that loss, because but even not even that though, that's what I'm learning too, like second and third and fourth generation Korean Americans who grow up here share very similar sentiments of like not being Asian enough and not feeling connected enough, and it's this loss of identity. And I think that's something I've really been hearing a lot more over the last, or maybe not hearing more, but seeing, like actually being privy to over the last couple months, is this story of the families of immigrants really struggling in a lot of the same ways that we have as adoptees. Not the same, and not a comparison of our struggles, but just that they have experiences that have similar through lines as we do.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying, where like, once I got my head out of my own belly button and was like done just like thinking about myself, because I'd spent so long navel gazing and spent so long being like, oh, I'm not Asian enough and whatever. And so like, didn't interact with the broader Asian American community.
Did you say navel gazing?
I did say navel gazing, yes.
I don't know
what that means.
I don't either. I'm having a visual of that.
Staring into one's navel,
I thought you meant you stuck your head so far up your butt that you were looking at your stomach. I really did think that's what you meant. And you were trying to like PG it. And I was like, okay.
That's just, growing up in a conservative church, that's just the language I was given. So that's the language that I use.
I was like,
totally
are we also talking about like oranges? Or
okay.
But what I'm saying is, once I got out of my own head and like really like what you were saying, Patrick, like once you're kind of able to step out of like, oh, woe is me, I'm not Asian enough, and then you interact with other Asian Americans, especially the more historic Asian American families, ones who've been here for 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 generations, you're like, oh, they feel just as disconnected from their heritage culture as we do for different reasons, but it's a similar disconnect. It's a similar like, imposter syndrome almost, even though like it's arguably in our blood more than, like 4th generation Asian Americans. You're like, we still kind of share this whatever. And that's why like I was so relieved, I guess, to find that like, I guess just a part of being a diaspora community is this shared sense of loss, and I think Han really speaks to the recent turmoil, I guess, for Korean identity, like that it is so recent. It was literally just the last century that Korea got colonized by Japan, freed from Japan, and then colonized by America, and now is like split in half. You know what I mean? Like there's so much, and I think what happened, because I know that there's some debate over whether it's an anachronistic term or not, but I think what happened was somebody said like, oh, Koreans, you have this Han, and then like the whole nation was just like, Yes, that is the word. And I think
Right.
that that's why it's become so popular recently, is because like there is so much grief and pain and loss of identity and tragedy recently that we're all, well, however you find yourself, you're just like, oh yeah, this is exactly how I feel. So
That's funny you say that because that's what he talks about. You know, it seems like such an ancient thing, like the feeling or the concept, and it kind of is, but the way it's used and the way it's described now is more modern because
Yeah.
it's like the 1900s and up to really like because it's been that period of time where all this has happened.
yeah. So speaking of recent and ancient things, let's take a minute and debrief this whole section, this whole
Sure.
Yu-Gi-Oh section of Confucianism and how like 'cause it's been like a really deep dive into Korean culture. And the next section of the book is going to be food. But what's been like your biggest takeaway from this last chunk of the Korean culture dictionary? Nathan, why don't you kick us off?
I like hearing about all these deep rooted emotions and things that it starts off with that people might be feeling or thinking about, not just adoptees, but any Korean or anyone who's looking into Korean culture. I mean, to understand why the K dramas maybe are so the way they are, and why people do the traditional things that they do, bows and family structures, and then have these emotions on the back end of it, of this Jeong and Han. It just really puts it all together and puts just more substance to the culture, which has been great for me. I'm definitely excited to get to the food part as well, but this has been good to give a little backstory.
For the listeners at home, Nathan had the biggest smile on his face. He's like, I'm excited to get to the food part now.
I mean, to be fair, they did
Like a
start with
toothy wolf
kimchi
grin.
at some point, so that was kind of snuck in there.
Yeah, as a
of
teaser.
the food. That was
Yeah.
like a teaser
Right.
of what's to come. But
Well, because it's so important. It's so important.
it is.
But it makes sense that it would lead into this section about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think the thing that I took the most from it was actually really similar to Nathan, a more full understanding of the culture and why certain things are the way they are, and how they got to be that way, and kind of how they're changing. I think what I like about this book, and I think we talked about this in the last episode, was the approachability of the way that it sets everything out for you. And I think it's a good primer for diving deeper into the concepts that we learn about. And I think
Yeah.
this section in particular is important because, as you mentioned 2 solo episodes ago, KJ, about Minju and about being fluent fools and not knowing the culture, knowing the language but not knowing the culture behind it. I think this is a great stepping stone for that, and this section in particular is a good entryway into a lot of what Korean society is today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same as y'all. I like there's so much about Korean culture that through watching K-dramas or reading about it, or like even trying to learn the language through Talk to Me in Korean. Like Talk to Me in Korean is really good because they like also give some kind of cultural tidbits here and there. And so especially the Samgamgoryeon, the 3 cardinal principles and
Oh, yeah.
5 ethical norms, like that, like very beginning part of the Yu-Gi-Oh, the Confucianism in Korean, and understanding like just because like Confucianism versus Age of Enlightenment deism are like, I feel like they couldn't be further apart, you know. So like where America was founded with the Age of Enlightenment and reason and deism, and then Korea being A, much older, but then B, having these deeply rooted Confucianism principles that guide the people. I was like, I know generally some Korean etiquette and things like that, but like hearing like the thing that like the pillars basically that Korea is rooted on, you know, and where then it evolves to now. And especially I think some of the cognitive dissonance of South Korea being postmodern and being like so heavily influenced by America, but then still having these deeply rooted Confucianism principles is actually a really nice mirror to what we as Korean adoptees go through, especially being raised in America, where it's like we're American and we're trying to take on more Koreanness, and Koreans are Korean, obviously, taking on more Americanness, you know. And so like just trying to find the balance and the shakeout of that has been really interesting. So yeah, it's been really cool. And then I just feel like that does help me have a deeper understanding and a richer understanding behind like some of the etiquette and the traditions and things like that, even while I'm trying to grasp the language a little bit more or enjoy the foods or whatever. And then I'm excited because the rest of the book just seems really fun and light and yeah.
Well, on that note, not completely. So the book is starting out with some foundation. It is definitely going to give a basis of definitions and things that you need to know about the culture. But it does go into food, but it also goes into funerals. It goes into weddings. It goes into money and other items that just kind of gives more backstory about things that the culture does. And I think that's good to know those the topics that we're talking about now before we get into those things on, well, that makes sense why you would bow this way at a funeral or at a wedding and things like that. So other than just touching on those later. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this book. I mean, it's going to go into, I was browsing through, history and things like that.
Weddings, funerals, and money. That's the top
I
three.
know. I mean, there's lots of money. Internet, sports, business. Like, why do people work so hard? I mean, there's some really good topics in here. So, I mean, all of them could be related to things that we've already talked about. So, yeah, I'm excited
I would
to
say
keep going through.
too that this section for me, it was a lot of respect, like a newfound, or not maybe a newfound respect, but a new appreciation and respect for the culture itself. Because I think when you look at some of these things at face value, like especially the bowing, like that's something that it's stereotypically mocked, and or
Right.
can be a lot of times. And it would be easy for me as an Americanized Asian person to just be like, oh, whatever, and then like
Yeah.
laugh about it. But
Yeah.
I don't want to laugh about it because it's important.
And when I bought the book, it had all this, stuff on the cover of the book where it showed pictures of kimchi, soju, money, some tennis shoes, the Pepsi logo. It talked about that stuff. And I was like, okay, wonder how much is going to be in here. It says from kimchi to K-pop to K-drama. But it's actually going deeper than that, which I like, because I didn't want it to be all,
All
pop
fluff, no
culture
stuff.
fluff, right? I didn't want it to be all
Nice.
corny, and things like that. So, speaking of corny,
Okay, I was like, here we go. He's saying,
Woo-Sung Kang, come on the show.
speaking of corny, we're gonna go to a food portion next with some corn.
We'll be right back. Roll the clip.
Welcome
We are
back.
back with the. We all wanted to go into this one.
You go.
Welcome back to the CORN CHEE Show.
I'm your host, KJ. You're one, you're only, your very favorite host.
That's right. He is the only host of the show. I am the other host of the show. And then we
Nathan
also
is
have
our
a
very
dirt-
honored guest.
I just
Don't
wanted
be
to say the CORN
confused. This
CHEE
is
Show.
not the start of the show.
Yeah, we're just in the middle of a show.
We're in the middle of a show, and we are not the corn cheese show. We are eating the corn cheese.
If they made it this far, they should know that we're not the CORN CHEE Show.
Okay, I hope so.
Unless it's their first.
More like the Corny Show.
Ah, boo.
Oh, okay.
So we are.
That's what you're paying
eating-
for.
Yeah, we are eating a crown product, and it is literally called the corn cheese. So
I feel like something we haven't talked about in a while is the packaging and what's going on outside of it. So really quickly, for the listeners at home, it is just bold font, corn cheese, cream cheese. And then it has a stream of liquid cheese falling down on what appear to be corn chips.
a waterfall of
Like
sorts.
corn noodles almost.
Yeah.
Corn noodles. And
Right.
one of the corn noodles is
Talking.
so elated to be getting drowned in the cheese. He is saying, "I want more!" Exclamation
Or
point.
she, or they.
They.
Yeah.
I will say they. Sorry, not to
We don't know their
categorize the corn.
pronouns.
That's true. I apologize.
You
But
apologize to the corn cheese.
Yeah,
I
the
had
one
to
on the
say- I
back
had to
too.
talk
Maybe
about
that's him. See,
I
he's-
had to talk about it because that is they've anthropomorphized these.
Oh yeah, it's
these-
wild. This
these
packaging
cheese.
is wild.
Well,
The
these
other
things,
cheese.
they're technically corn cheese because on the back package there's a green arrow, and corn cheese is clearly one word.
Mm-hmm. What?
Oh
I think-
yeah.
What
I think it's
is
interesting.
corn cheese?
What is
And
corn cheese?
This is interesting. It is an upgraded,
corn cheese is a
soft
Korean
and
term that we
deep
use
cream
to
cheese.
say-
I don't know what that means. Upgraded, soft and deep cream cheese, but corn germs, which look black dots on the snack, are edible. Good to know.
Is
Thank
it
you.
corn germs?
Yeah, that's what it says. I don't know if
I
that's
feel like this was translated from the original
Yeah.
Scandinavian.
I don't think that was correct in the translation. But down below where the expiration date is, I like it says delicious promise.
That's what I was just about to say. I'm like, okay.
Oh, it's a pinky promise too.
This
Yeah.
thing is trying to sneak into my home and say, I got a delicious promise for you right here.
It's
I don't
gonna
like
be
that.
good.
I don't like that.
Oh well. I don't know.
Best.
We'll be the
All right.
judge of that.
All right, guys, open.
Okay, open at the top right. It says it.
Yeah. It
Is
also
that
says fun
top
dude
left?
up there.
Mine might
Yeah,
explode.
top left, dude.
What the viewers can't see also is that since I'm at high altitude, mine is as puffy as a giant balloon,
Oh, it smells good.
and it's gonna explode when I open
It
it.
smells like a
Oh,
waterfall of cheese right off the
Ooh.
bat.
So these kind of look like cheese, like Cheeto puffs, right? Like the cheese puffs.
Yes, they do look like.
However,
Uh-huh.
on the bottom of mine, it actually has like the
It's the
I
waterfall
don't know the
residue.
solidified cheese base to it.
What did I just eat? What?
Don't-
I also
oh, no.
want to say this
Spoiler.
is very false advertising from the coloration of these cheese things to the coloration of the cheese on the bag.
Oh wow. Okay, so at first it tastes like a Cheeto, like a cheese puff, but It's-
What?
it is way
Ew.
sweeter. It is way sweeter than I thought that was gonna be.
Ah! Come here. Come try this.
Have another special
Yeah,
That's
guest.
the cream cheese.
It is the cream cheese on the bottom of the puff.
Oh, I don't like that. Keep it inside. I don't like the texture. I like the
do you
taste
think?
actually. The taste isn't too bad. The texture
Sarah,
though.
oh, Sarah's going for more. She's got a.
She likes it, she said.
It's not a bad taste. It's just an unfamiliar texture of having
Ooh, white
crunchy
cheddar.
with creamy.
White cheddar.
White
Yep.
cheddar Cheeto.
Yeah.
she said.
But it's sweet. Whatever the cream
with
cheese
cream
is, it's
cheese.
sweet.
It kind of reminds me of like the white cheddar popcorn. That's what that tastes like, kind of. But with
I can't get over the cream cheese on it.
Yeah.
It's weird, man.
and it's cold for some reason. That's why I don't.
Yeah.
It's weird
Yeah,
that it's
I don't
cold.
understand that either.
It's weird that it's cold. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay. The more I eat it, the more used to it I get.
Yeah. I almost
Featuring a Sarah cameo.
I'm picturing it as a chocolate coating, like a white chocolate
No.
coating, and it makes me
Oh, if
feel
it
better.
was chocolate, I would like that. But how do you picture that?
Ah!
How do you get your taste buds to change the taste of this to
You
chocolate?
think
Oh, Sarah
about
came
it.
back for more.
Oh, okay.
That just made me spit out cheese puff all over. Oh,
I'm-
she's back for another.
Sarah is making herself a little doggy bag.
I mean, it
Oh, it's sticky too. That
No, it
cheese.
smells-
it's-
that's
it
weird.
smells like cheese.
Okay, here's the main difference between this corn chee and like a cheese puff or something, like a Cheetos puff, is like all of the American puffs have like a crispiness to them.
Yeah,
This one like dissolves,
true.
and so it's
Yeah.
like not. It's
Yes.
a weird.
Because they're not substantial. It's almost like they're hollow. And
It's like
a-
eating. It's
Styrofoam
like
puffs.
eating hard.
oh, what do you know what that
Like
tastes like?
fossilized cotton candy.
Fossilized
Okay.
cotton candy. Cotton candy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird. Y'all
wanna
have to go out and buy it
Yeah,
and-
this is different.
and try this. There's literally not a good way that I can describe this.
I will say that I have not yet consumed more than half the bag, so that should be saying something.
So it
Because
wasn't false
normally-
advertising. If you actually look at the packaging again, with the stream of cheese flowing onto the cheese puffs on the front,
It does.
there is a small section of it that is coated, just like they really
That's
are. They're
true.
like the bottom of it is coated.
I was
they
talking
look-
about more of the color though.
Yeah,
Like this is that is white cheddar. This is like very clearly a nacho cheddar.
well,
wow.
it's definitely different. I would not
This is
say
wild.
it's. No, I don't know. Let's go with ratings because
Sarah,
that's
you
where
want
it's
more
really gonna.
again?
Oh, I
Sarah
think it's
is
Sarah's.
this corn puff here. I want more.
Sarah is giving it a 5. We can tell.
This is you. She ain't even mad about it.
She's just go. I can see just the shrug. She just do the shrug
So
emoji
what
out.
does
she's just,
Sarah
"Here
give
you
it?
go."
5 out of 5 out of
Oh,
5.
also, my cat likes it, so
Good to
Okay,
know.
well, that
hey.
makes me not like it anymore.
I don't know. Give it to Vlad. See if
Cat
he likes
treat.
it.
No way, Vlad can't have one of these corn cheese.
Is it because it has Janchi mill in it? Is
It
Vlad
has
allergic to
Janchi milk.
It's got
Janchi mill? It does say lactose, sweet whey powder, hydrogenated
Yeah.
coconut oil, skim milk preparation, milk cream starch syrup, sodium
Got a lot of
glycinate,
stuff.
potassium diphosphate. That's Janchi meal.
Interesting.
And fresh cream powder. Oh, and Taiji meal. This is cool. I've actually not seen like Romanized Korean science flavors on this, so that's fun. Anyways, ratings.
Go ahead, Patrick.
You had to eat another one. Oh, you want
Yeah.
me to go?
Go ahead.
All right.
Let's see what you
I'm gonna give this a 3. It's not bad. It's not a bad snack. Crown. That's who you said did this? Crown.
Crown.
Not a bad snack. I can't get over the wet coldness of the cream cheese. It is weird.
That's real weird.
I can't get
So
over it.
weird.
And I just feel like I'm not feeling this packaging. I want to like it. I really want to like this guy or this person, this thing down here saying I want more, but it's just I don't know. There's something about the packaging I'm not here for. So 3 out of 5 cheese. Maybe recommend for one try. Nathan?
I'll go since KJ is still eating it in a very, very scientific.
I think he's dead.
Yeah, I think he's really deeply.
I really can't. I can't.
Yeah, he's really like dissecting it, bite by bite. I'm gonna have to agree. At first, I'm gonna say 3 out of 5 because at first I'm thinking this is gonna be like a Cheeto. It's a Cheeto puff, even though it had some of that. You know, you could visually see the cream that was on the bottom of it. You could visually see that. You're like, okay, it's gonna taste like cheese, which cheese is typically salty, but it's sweet. The cream cheese part is sweet, so it's a sweet and salty, which I normally wouldn't say is bad, but I think it's the contrast in the crunchy, airy with the thicker creamy on the bottom that just throws me off. It's not the flavor. The flavor is fine. It's just I think I need to get used to it. But yeah, 3 out of 5. I wouldn't not eat them. So, and I'm not gonna throw them out. I'm gonna give them to my kids and see if they like them in a second. And I'll save some for Allison. I may continue to eat the rest, but it's actually a fairly big bag too. It's a good portion size, if you will.
I would like to go back and see how many times you've talked about your love of salt on a food product on the show.
Approximately 12.
If this was a tad saltier and cheesier, I actually might like it better. I would have probably bumped it up to 3.5 or 4.
Yeah, this is mind blowing to me. I'm gonna give it a solid 3, like squarely decent product. I can't get over like if you put it in your mouth, it starts dissolving. That's what I mean by like fossilized cotton candy. Like it has more structure than cotton candy, but it dissolves into nothingness just like cotton candy.
It's like your saliva is acid.
Like by the fact that it has an initial like breaking apart and then dissolves into powder immediately is like I don't understand. And then Patrick, like you, the cold creamed how?
The fact that it's cold.
Whichever scientific discovery led us to cold powdered cream cheese flavor, props. Like that is I can't. It's like I saw a great magic trick and I'm still freaking out about it. So yeah, it's good. I mean, I wouldn't mind having more of them, but like it's so weird to me texturally that like it erases any consideration of flavor or like it's all just like this is a weird experience, but
it's texture. It's the texture,
not in
really,
a bad way,
right?
Just in a way, So
Yeah.
solid 3 out of 5. Crown would buy again. I would be more excited to give this to a bunch of people and say try this and just film their reactions because we all immediately like had thoughts about it, ate it, and we were like, ah! So I'm glad.
And then we went back in for more. Wait.
Yeah,
give me more of these.
Well, now I don't know if Sarah literally flashed her hands 4 times, so she's giving this approximately a 40 out of 5. So 40. She was like, yeah, like she could basically be a GIF or an emoji. Like she was so vigorously a proponent for Corn Chee.
Okay.
So there you go.
So she wants us to change the name of the show to the CORN CHEE Show.
She's gonna start her own podcast called the Corn Chee Show.
There you go.
There you go.
I just like that you also knew that or felt the cold of the cheese. Did you feel that, Nathan?
It was just the
That was
texture.
cold?
Yeah, I mean, it was colder than the powdered part. And
See,
my
that's what I'm saying.
scientific explanation of that is because your saliva is warmer and it probably melted the powdery part first, and then the other part stayed the colder temperature.
No, that
Nathan,
doesn't
I forgot
feel
you
right.
went to school for chemistry.
No, not chemistry, business.
Oh yeah,
My dad was
that
a
was your
chemist.
dad. That was your dad.
My dad.
I actually was serious for a second, but no, I am remembering correctly that your dad was the chemist.
That's okay. I have no clue what you went to college for.
Technically, I didn't.
No, you did. You went to it for a while.
Heyo! And that's the rest of our show.
Yep.
Wait.
Well,
all
to
right.
find out more about where Patrick went to college, you can message us at Janchi Show on any of our social media platforms, or send us an email to janchishow@justlikemedia.com. You can head to janchishow.com/support to find out all the ways to support the show. But really, we just ask that you tell a friend and say, hey, I like this podcast, and I think that you would too. It's a lot of fun. I learned some stuff, and also send her some adoptee voices, because who knows? Maybe your friend is adoptee, maybe they're not. If you are a Korean adoptee and would like to be on our show, we would love to have you. There's a guest form for you to fill out, which I think is on the support page. If not, just message us. We'd love to hear your story and to help share your story to the world. So please do that. And if you want to reach out to your favorite podcast host, then you're going to have to figure out where to find them. Patrick, you can go first. If you so happen to be a person's favorite, which I don't know that there are that many, but
I don't think so.
If you so happen to be a person's favorite, where can they find you on the internet?
They can find me at Patrick in the World on Instagram. If they're interested in what I'm currently reading, which I'm trying to read a book a week, they can follow me at PatrickReads_. I just started that. Actually, I've been doing it for a few weeks now. And that's it. I have a website, patrickintheworld.me, if you do want to go look at some resources that have helped me on my journey.
Nice. Nathan, if you are the favorite host and they want to talk to you, where can they find you?
If you'd like to talk to me, I am at NoWalkPhoto on Instagram, or NNoWalk for my personal account. You can find my webpage which is nathannowalk.com, and I'm on Facebook. And yeah, love to talk to you about anything.
Nice. You can find me at KJ Relke on all the places that I want to be found. Or if you want to be an egalitarian, join us on our Facebook group, the Janchi Show After Party, and you can talk to all three of us and none of us if you want to just talk to other fans of the show about things like where to get chopsticks, or food recipes, or Liverpool Football Club, anywhere in between. It's kind of all over the place, but it's a good time to hang out. That is it for us.
That is not it.
Dip.
Dun, dun,
We
dun.
are, as we announced right after Con, we are going to be doing a live show in LA, August 28th. Wait,
Yes.
August 29th?
At the end of August.
At the end of August.
Yes.
We should have some stuff coming out about that very soon, but please stay tuned for that. Some other exciting announcements coming around it.
It is the
but-
29th, August 29th, Sunday.
Okay, August 29th. This will be the first time that we meet in person.
Yes.
And we're going to be doing some really fun stuff thanks to our producer and because of the support you guys have given us on the show. And really excited for it. So now that is it.
Stay
The dictator has
tuned.
spoken,
More
has
information on
dictated
that.
to you what is going to happen at the end of August.
And check
All
out
right.
as KJ said, check out our support page. We have a few new T-shirt designs up there that you guys
yeah.
may be interested in. So thank you for all that have supported us. And
Yeah. Oh,
we appreciate
also,
it.
welcome to the Janchi Show. This is your host, KJ. I'm just starting over.
No, that's right. We just right back into it.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the next week of the John
we're
Chi
in
Show.
we're digging through the Korean culture dictionary, and we're trying to food. And,
Did we mention we're the
Nathan,
Corn
what
Chee
does-
show?
Yeah, Nathan, what does corn chee mean to you in Korean?
It means corn.
No, tell us in Korean, Nathan.
Chee. It's the chi of the corn.
That is
All
excellent.
right.
I have no
Perfect.
clue what is
Excellent.
CHEE.
All right, we're
And
out of here.
that
We're
is our
getting too
show.
silly. Goodbye,
Hey,
everybody.
got to go. And we're out of here. Gotta get out of here. Gotta get out of here.
I'm just
And
gonna
goodbye.
yo.
That was pretty good.
Goodbye, everybody.